Hi friends, it's Becky, and I feel like making something tonight, but I don't feel like using any tools because my wrist right here hurts a little bit. So instead of doing something where I might need to use pliers or anything like that, I'm giving my wrist a rest. And just because I know you're watching, Mom, I'm okay. It feels a lot better than it did earlier today. So I'm just going to continue resting, but I can't just sit there and not do anything. So I thought I would do some knotting. I have myself some Chinese knotting cord, and it's thinner than the 0.5 millimeter knotting cord. I think it's like 0.25 or something. I don't have my label on it though, but it's fairly thin for knotting cord. And I went ahead and cut 3 different lengths of 42 inches of knotting cord. And I'm going to leave 2 of these long. And then the second one, I'm going to fold it in half and double it up. And it's just kind of going to be my, my core thread as I do some macrame, some beading macrame on this. And what I want to do here is I'm going to just fold it in half. I'm not cutting it because I'm going to grab one of my wide-eye beading needles. And I'm going to use that to make it easier for me to get my my thread on my beads. I just feel like making things easy for me tonight. And I'm going to be tying onto these clasps. These clasps did not come in the curated bead box that I'm using today. They are from my stash, but I want some easy clasps that I don't have to do anything fancy with. And so that is what I'm doing. So here's a wide-eye beading needle that I can use for that. I'm gonna go ahead and get this on there. This is the middle. I've got my finger pinched on it. Wide-eye beading needles are great because you can just open them up like that. And then you can put on your thread or your cord or whatever it is that you're using. You don't have to fiddle around with them very much. Okay, so that's the middle point. So that's going to make it. And see, that way I'll be able to get my beads on there without a lot of fuss, I think. Yep. All right. So now the end of this that I don't have my beading needle on, I'm going to match that end up with these other 2 ends right here. Kind of arrange them so that those 2 are in the middle and then the other 2 are on the outside. And then about 5, 6, maybe 7 inches down, because I want to give myself some room to work with the ends here when I go to finishing it. I'm just going to tie an overhand knot right here with all lengths of this cord. Pull it tight so it's ready to go. So I just prepped my cords. Let's pick out the beads we're using. And I think what I want to do is just a simple necklace using some of these beads from this box. I want some of these larger beads. They've got really big holes, so they'll go on very nicely. I'm going to use some of these spacers as well. Like, I wouldn't actually need to use the needle for these or these, but I will for this. So I'm just going to go with that and leave it on there so that I can do those. So I'm going to use some of these, probably, let's see, and then all of these pink crackle glass guys. We'll use them too. So if I have, I'm gonna lay it out. I'm gonna have these yellow guys in the middle, and then How is I gonna have it? With these on either side. And then there'll be like some macrame in between them, so there'll be some space. And then the pink ones. And then these. Actually, that one's more white than anything. There we go. And that way. And I'm using the blue because I think the blue will go. It's a good color for this color palette, I think. The navy blue. Right. Loop. Okay. So yeah, that's how it's gonna go. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll have our center one, and then we'll do 1, 2, 3 again. Okay. So these guys will be for the other side. I'm gonna set them aside so that I know to start reversing the pattern after I get all of these guys on there. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it. And I'm going to flip my little board around, take out this bead mat, and grab a binder clip. Clip this. Oof. Come on, binder clip. I had a different binder clip actually that worked a lot better than this one. This one's smaller. Where's my other binder clip gone? It was over here in my tools. And then things got put on top of it, I think. Or it got moved. Well, you know what? We're gonna make this one work. All right. I might have to do it from this end. Oh. Yeah, okay. There we go. That's because that's in the way. All right. Oof. Well, I'm turning it around. So I got it connected on this side. Now these guys are going everywhere. I could have probably done this a lot better if I'd had a binder clip that worked right, but now I got to tie this on here because I couldn't get the knot under here and get the binder clip on here, but that's what this is for. I'm just gonna grab 2 of these strands, put it through the hole, join them up with the rest of everybody, and do another overhead knot, or overhand knot, not overhead. That's my hand, not my head. It's right there. It doesn't need to be tight, that one, because it's just going to be holding it, and we can undo that knot when we get there. All right, now let's arrange our guys. That's where that came from. All right, let me move that out of the way so I'm not knocking things over, being an elephant about it. All right, now let's separate our strands, because the fun thing about this is that we're wrangling strings, and we are just going to be doing that until this project is done. Okay, so I've got my 2 long guys over here on the outside. Actually pass this under here. And I've got my center strand here. That's the one with a needle on the end. We're just gonna stick that right there. And I'm gonna start doing some square knot macrame for a little bit. And that's where you make a 4 on one side, a 4 or a P or something, but it's crossing over the top of this one. And then you want to cross over this end of it and then go through this cross that's made right here from this side, just with your fingers, and grab that strand, pull it through that loop. Keep this taut if you can. And snug that up. And then you do the same thing, but you start with a cross over here on the other side, where you cross this over, bring this one over the top of that one, and underneath these two. Come on, buddy. Underneath these two. And it's a lot easier when you've got something already tied. This first bit is always just a little bit awkward. So if you're feeling awkward about it, that's totally normal. Go ahead, be awkward. We're all a little bit awkward. All right, and then I'm gonna keep doing this. Oh, I don't know, 6 more times. All right, and if you ever forget which end it's coming out of, there's this little bump. It's like the knot is wearing a scarf. That's the side that you're gonna go on for the next one. Look for the scarf around your knot. It's on the side of it when you're looking at it from this end. I just want there to be a little bit of distance between this knot and my first bead before I place it. Buddy, what are you doing? So yeah, the reason I can tie things and not like, using tools is because it's this pinching motion with my hand that had been bothering me earlier today. I'm just going to continue kind of giving that a little bit of rest until I feel 100%. I'll probably be feeling 100% by tomorrow. But doing something like this where I'm just tying knots and I'm not squeezing too hard. I'm not trying to manipulate a needle around a lot. Honestly, I think that's what it was the needle, because I've been doing some embroidery. And it's been a while since I did some embroidery, so I've been doing a lot of needle manipulation. And so my hand just isn't used to moving like that anymore. And it's probably a lot like when you exercise, if you haven't for a while, and you have what they call DOMS. It's the delayed onset muscle soreness. which is basically your muscles repairing themselves after they haven't been used for a while, and you go and use them. And that's probably what it is. Probably. How many of these have I done? Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I wanted to do 6 of these, I think. So 2 more. Going from side to side. You know what? No, 2 more. 2 more for sure. I feel like I'm sort of nodding with my soul here. I haven't really planned out like exactly how many knots I'm going to have between my beads, or how far away from the first initial knot I want my first bead to be. It's just what it feels like to me. And I think that feels pretty good for that. All right, 1 more. And 1 knot, by the way, is when you go on one side and then the other. That's what I'm counting as 1 knot, which is why I'm counting the bumps just on one side. All right. So here's the part where I'm going to add my first bead. And if I recall correctly, I wanted it to be this guy on the ends. So, geez, don't poke your chesticles, Becky. All right, so I've got that guy slid right up there. And now I am going to start doing my knotting again. And I think 4 knots between, wait, no, I want this guy. 4 knots between is going to work for me. This is the part where I'm going to need to hold this straight. Scooch this guy up right below, just snug it right up to that knot. And then do the same thing on the other side with this guy. We're just having fun. We're just making stuff. That's all we're doing. Just making stuff with our curated bead box. So that's 1. Wait, that's not 2. I have to do the other side first, and then it will be 2. I always mess up my counting when you have to do something twice, and that equals once, or do one side plus another side, and that equals 1. I always mess up my counting. You would think, being a knitter, that I would be better at counting by now, but no, I do not get enough practice counting, obviously. Alright, so you know what? This is 2.5. I think I just figured out how to fix myself of that problem. I need to count by halves, so that was 2.5, and this is now 3. Wonderful. Good job, me. I wasn't even looking to solve a problem, and I did it. Right, and this will be 3.5. And this is 4. And then I'm going to place my next bead after I finish making this, tying this. Counting by halves. Jeez. Like, why did I never ever think of that before? All right, I've got my pink guy on here, and we're gonna try real hard not to break this bead. Real hard. Pink bead. I think I do really like this navy blue color. It's navy blue, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see that color very well on the screen, but I figured since they included lapis in this box, which, by the way, I am probably going to be using the rest of this cord to do some knotting with the lapis, but it'll be, instead of macrame, it'll be like pearl knotting sort of thing between the beads, which will be super fun, but that's not what I'm doing today. I am doing this today. Like, I got the idea to do it with this cord when I pulled it out, and I was like, this is such a great, perfect match for that lapis. Perfect match. And again, it's some cord that I got a while ago. I don't even have the label anymore, so I can't tell you where I got it from. But I do know that it is a lot thinner, about half as thin or half as thick as like 0.5 millimeter cord, because I was comparing it against some 0.5 millimeter. I was like, is this the same size? No, it is not the same size, y'all. It is not the same size. All right. So that was one. I'm going to do my 1.5 knot. 1.5 1.5 1.5. That sounds good. Let's brainstorm that. You know, a good way of saying which, you know, like you've got first, second, third way of enumerating something. If you've got a way of enumerating something when it's a half number, if you know what the proper way to do that is, let me know, because like otherwise I'm just going to be saying halves when I do this. And I need to move that needle out of the way because I just poked my finger. I am having a great night. Okay, so that was 2. So I've got 1, 2. And now this is 2.5. Cardinal, is that what they're called? The cardinal numbers? No, that can't be right. Am I wrong? Has it been too long since I've done numbers? Math. I need some children who I can help with some homework to learn this stuff again. I could look it up, but I'm not going to do that right now because I am busy tying knots. One of you look that up for me, please. Let me know. I appreciate y'all. All right, so that was my next half, because that was 1, 2, 3.5, and now we're at 4. You know what? That wasn't even a 4. It was a 9, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Or which way does a 4 go? I can never remember. Anyway, you're making a little bend, like when you're mad and you put your hand on your hip. your elbow makes that little bend on it, and it doesn't matter which hand you put on which hip. There we go. That's shaping up nice. All right, next one is going to be my metal guy. And again, I don't even need the needle for that, but I do need it for the pink ones. So we're leaving it on there. All right, and this is going to be the pattern that I repeat. I'm going to repeat it 2 more times and then add another yellow bead. And I will meet you back here after I have gotten to that point, or when I get to that point, so we can start going over how I'm going to reverse my pattern to go up the other side of this necklace. So I'll meet you back up here in a little bit after I get 2 more repeats of this. All right, so I've made it to about halfway down across my little necklace that I'm making. I did 1, 2, 3 repeats of this large barrel bead, pink crackle glass, and silver spacer. And then I finished with one of the barrel beads right here, and it's going to be my center bead. So after this, I'm going to mirror my pattern. So my next bead will be this metal spacer. My next bead after that will be this pink crackle glass, and the next bead after that will be this. And I'll just keep going until I've added 3 repeats in this order, going in this direction. And I just want to show you too how I managed to move up once this got long enough that I needed to move this along so it would fit on my board better. And what I did is I untied that that second knot that I had made to tie it onto the end of this. And right here, there's this loop on the this binder clip, and I just passed my work through that loop, and I just keep going until I get past one of these beads that has kind of an edge to it. And then when I bring it down here, it won't hold up to like really vigorous pulling, but it will keep it sort of straight while I'm straightening out this center cord in order to make my knots. So let's keep going. I'm gonna grab my little dish over here that has my other beads. And like I said, my next one is going to be, since I'm mirroring, my next one is going to be the silver spacer. Basically for the rest of this necklace, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to tie my, here we go, let's make my little, it's a 4, right? That's how 4s go. Is it, or is it 9 is that way and 4 is that way? Is 4 and 9 the same way? It's a P. It's a P. That's what it is. And then we put this one over the top of this, and then underneath the cross, and through the loop on the other side, just like we did before. And then to complete this knot, we're going to do the same thing on the other side, just opposite. It might be a little bit easier to see now that I have a little bit shorter threads and they aren't going everywhere. See, you just want to give it a little bit of a tug, not a sharp tug, just enough to straighten this out and hold it straight while you tighten up your thread. So I'm going to keep doing this, and when I get to the end, I am going to show you how we're going to attach our ends to our clasps without using any other hardware. Okay, so I added my last bead, and then I did 6 knots on this side to match the beginning of my necklace. And let me just turn this now that I don't need it for any of that. Let's just turn this way and get my bead mat back so that I can have that. I like having the soft mat underneath my beads rather than the wood. It's just one of those things I prefer. Right, there we go. So here's the necklace. It is not finished yet, but the knotting has been finished. And I have two ends here, and I'm going to do each end the same way. So I'm just going to move one end over here. We're going to work on this end for right now. And basically here on this end, I'm going to scooch in a little bit so you can see. I've got both of these threads coming out of that last knot. I pulled it real tight. And now what I'm going to do is grab my lighter and my scissors, and I am going to cut the ends of the cords that I was tying with, not my core cords, not the ones that were in the center, just the ones that I was tying with, on each side. And I'm just making sure that I leave just a little bit of it out here. I'm not cutting it super close, but close enough. This way. I'm just moving those out of the way a little bit. I can just melt that a little bit, tap it over there to make a bit of an edge with my finger. I melt it and tap it, and that's finished that part. And now I've got this strand here, and I'm going to use the strand to, wait, what did I do with it? I just had it. Oh, it's right here. I'm going to use the strand to attach to the clasp. And I'm going to do that by passing both of these ends of the cord through the hole on my clasp. Both of my cords through the hole. Come on, pay attention. Didn't you hear me? I just told you what we're doing. It's late. It's fine if it's not paying attention to me. All right, and then I'm going to move this down about here. And I'm going to hold on to this cord and this thread. And I'm going to grab the one tool that I'm using besides the scissors and lighter, and that is these tweezers. And I'm just going to hold this thread right here with the tweezers. And then I'm going to take my, ooh, this is hard to do. Hard to do. Let's hold it like that. Scooch these guys up here. Bend this over a little bit. Just a little bit. Bloop. Of course. I'm gonna make a barrel knot. So I've got the tweezers here that I'm going to be wrapping around with this cord. I'm going to wrap around the tweezers. Loop, loop, loop. Hold the tweezers together, Becky. This is hard to do, but I'm holding the tweezers together, and I'm wrapping with both ends of this cord around the tweezers. And then when I get here to the end of the tweezers, not all the way to the end, I'm going to move that cord out of the way so it's not being held too much. I'm going to stick both of those in there. Oop. I'm doing this the wrong way. I need it to go the other way. I want this cord to drop out from between the tweezers so that when I pull it through, there we go. It won't be grabbing this cord, it'll be grabbing this cord. Like that. Oop, and I missed one of them. I'm just gonna scooch into there and grab that one with these tweezers. Come on, buddy. I had it. I had it. It's like the finger traps. You gotta kind of relax a little bit so that it can open up more. There we go. All right, now I got both cord ends in here. I really wish that this was further down here. But that's okay, because it's just gonna be, it's gonna be where it's gonna be. And now I need to tighten up the barrel knot. And I'm doing that by holding onto this edge and pulling. One more good tug. All right, so now that that is all barrel knotty, gonna do the same thing with these ends that I did with the others. Gonna give them a snip. See, that's gonna hold. And I'm gonna burn down these ends. Oop, just gonna melt them just a little bit. There we go. Now I've got one end attached. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. It's a little bit of a knot, but I'm okay with a knot because this whole thing is knots. It's knots instead of nuts. Oh boy. Yeah, it is late. All right, same thing as the other side. I think the second time I do a barrel knot, it should work better because it's been a while since I did one. I'm not gonna lie. This end. Okay. Now, I hope you guys were paying attention when I was telling the other guys that I need both ends. You were! Good job, head of the class. All right, this end might not be so wonky. Let's get our tweezers along there. Start wrapping this guy around here. Two, three, four. Move this other one out of the way. Let's see if we can get both of these cords gripped in the tweezers, both of them cords gripped in the tweezers to pull them through. Let's tighten this up. I think We need both cords for this. Come on, guys. Work together. Work together. This will do. This will do. All right. So I made jewelry without making my wrist angry. And I think adding this dark navy blue kind of helped tone down some of the bright colors on this just a little bit, but also kind of help that pink stand out a little bit more too. So this will be a really fun necklace to wear. And I will, of course, show you what it looks like on when I do my weekly wrap up and chat on Sunday. So you guys will get a better look at it then. But this was fun. It was fun to do some macrame, to grab some funky beads and put them all together. And I had a very, very great time making this with y'all. I hope that you are having a great week, and I will talk with you later. I'll put a link in the description to my unboxing of this curated bead box, and I'll also put a link to where you can subscribe if you're interested in subscribing to this curated bead box, because they have a lot of beads that you get every month, and it is it's always, you know, curated. Sometimes it's pinker, sometimes it's not. But yeah, it's one of the most economical bead subscriptions out there. So I do enjoy getting it and working with it. It's a fantastic stash buster, and it's great for beginning beaders because it always comes with a finding starter kit. Fortunately, it did not come with this Chinese knotting cord, but I will also see if I can find at least, maybe not the same Chinese knotting cord that I got, since I did get it a while ago, but I'll find something very similar to it so that if you want to grab some, you can probably do that too, and I'll get a link for that for you as well. Hope you have a great night. Bye.